Scores!
Welcome in. It is Wednesday, so that means it is time for another episode of What's Bruin. I am Chris. That is Gayle. Gayle, how you doing today? You excited to talk some bees?
Yeah, actually, not just the bees, but the fleet and the NHL in general. I think we've got a lot to talk about.
We have so much to go over. I actually think the best part to start right now is probably going a little bit sequentially. Let's start away from the Bruins first, because we know we always get a lot more people who jump in and have questions, and we've revisited topics several times just because we touched on them too early.
Right.
Saturday, former Bruins goaltender Linus Ullmark sits out for a game, says he can't go against the Lightning. He gets lambasted all over social media for it. And let's see. Dom says, I had to choose between watching Gayle smack Chris or the Artemis lunch. And Kevin jumps in. There are officially Marco Sturm amount of days left in the NHL season. So Kevin and Dom already joining us. Gayle, what did you make of Linus Ullmark pulling himself from a start on Saturday? And then, of course, all of the aftermath afterwards.
I mean, if your goaltender is your most valuable player, right, on any given night.
Arguably,
I know the team in front of him, but your best penalty killer, your best everything is your goaltender. Regardless of why he couldn't go, whether it was mental illness, regular illness, family issue, pain, it doesn't matter why he couldn't go. If he was not in the right space to be in the crease, good on him for saying, I can't go.
Yeah, and with all the backlash and everything that came after it, and I know some people are trying to say, oh, well, he still wasn't good to go on Tuesday. Why are you starting him? But that's on the coach.
Right.
That one's on Green. I watched that game. 2 goals in, he should have been pulled, regardless. Whether he said I'm good to go or not, with those first 2 goals, anything after that was just negligence on Travis Green's part. Once you're down 2-0 a minute into the game, you need to shake up your team anyway.
Right.
There was no game the night before. James Reimer's played fine for him down the stretch here. Numbers arguably a little bit better than Ullmark's. Granted, Ullmark's workload has been significantly higher.
Right.
And like you said, we don't know if it was mental. We don't know if it was physical. But either way, you should be treating him the same. If the guy can't go because of an ankle injury or a mental health issue, you as a coach still need to be able to recognize this guy's not ready to play, so I can't play him.
Right.
That's your job as a coach. Every player, we say it all the time when it's a physical injury, players want to play. They're going to play if you let them. And so the fact that he started on that Tuesday, that's on Green.
Right.
It's not on Ullmark, because I guarantee you he wanted to go on Saturday against the Lightning. And like you said, good on him for recognizing I can't go. I'm going to pull myself and say I can't go.
It's hard as a fan, and I'm not saying me or you, but it's hard as a fan because you always hear, especially like we talk about players, if they're injured, if there's an opportunity if they can play, they're going to play, right?
Right.
So it's hard to accept when a player says, I can't go.
Right. But here's the thing. If it was a physical injury,
doesn't matter what it doesn't matter
what I'm saying is, if it was a physical injury, would there be any backlash for the fact that he said I can't go? No.
But no. So first of all, when he took his leave of absence, it was never revealed why. It was speculation, right? So stemming back to that, Linus Ullmark has not gotten a fair shake in Ottawa during this whole entire season.
No.
So it doesn't matter the reason. People are putting it as a black cloud, saying that they never should have traded for him. It's like, I was just reading someone say if they don't make the playoffs, it's all his fault. All his fault? How do you blame one player for not making the playoffs?
Yeah, no, that is just not watching the team. That's just watching headlines and highlights and trying to blame one person.
No, but I mean, if you think about it, Bruins fans blame goaltenders all the time, you know?
I mean, it's the easy scapegoat. No one wants to do the hard work and say what was the actual problem.
Right.
And quite frankly, if Ottawa misses the playoffs this year, I really wouldn't be surprised if they take a look at someone who was fired on Saturday and Bruce Cassidy. Because Ottawa is a team that's pretty damn close overall between last year making the playoffs, this year. Yeah, they had poor goaltending to start the season, but ever since he came back from his leave of absence, especially since the Olympic break, Linus Ullmark has been what we saw here in Boston for 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he played in back-to-backs. He played there was an incident where he played 5 straight, then 4 straight, then back-to-backs, then 3 of 4, all before it leading into that game against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
So to say he's not carrying his weight, to say that they don't make it because of him is just wrong. Mm-hmm. They're in this race because of him. Mm-hmm. He, despite how bad his team was playing some of those nights, he kept them in those games, giving them a chance to win. So he's more than pulled his weight. And when he gives them his type of goaltending, they're in the playoffs.
Right.
And they've skyrocketed up the standings in the last 3.5, 4 weeks because of them. So, and yes, they've had other injuries. That's the point. You know, they're down, 3, 4 defensemen right now, and he has still got them to this point. So it's just, and then for people, former players and stuff like that, to say, oh, I'm disappointed in him and all these things, it's like, well, he's doing what he needs to do. You can't go around and talk out of both sides of your mouth like that. Kevin says there's times when you can blame a goaltender and times when you can't. You also can't blame Korpisalo because he's very important. As if Swayman goes down, he's supported fully.
Already, Kevin, already.
Man. Thanks, Kevin. Dom, I think that slap is going to be towards Kevin today. So, but I think there's a lot of clickbait outrage available for it. Like, and obviously as a fan, as a coach, as a teammate, you want to see him play. He is your best option in net. We would love to see Jeremy Swayman play every game, but that's not realistic.
Right.
And that's not reality. Yeah, Kevin, I know the window was open. You had to.
I mean, what did you say?
Just the fact that it's not reality to expect a goaltender at any level to start every single game. I mean, as good as she's been, you mentioned the Fleet earlier. Aaron Frankel's not starting every game.
She's missed 3 games.
But she still missed them.
Yeah.
Well, and they have multiple days off, weeks off between games.
Yeah.
And she has still missed 3 games.
Well, I shouldn't say missed. He's opted to start some. Abby Levy has started to, and Amanda Field just started. She had her first start on Sunday and beat the Frost 4-2.
But at a professional level, even the best goaltender in the world isn't starting every single game with weeks off between starts.
Right.
So that's reality.
Yeah.
And if he says he can't go, you if you're truly supporting him, you have to sit there and go, okay, we'll find another way to win this game.
Right.
Because that's supporting him. You do what you got to do, and we'll find a way to win this game without you. Mm-hmm. Try to be here for us in the next one. If you still can't, we're going to still try to find a way to win it. That's how a team works.
Right.
Like when Swayman missed his first game back from the Olympics, we had a lot of uproar over it.
Well, that's because
I know it was different circumstances.
That's
how
a
did the
different.
Team? How did the team itself react? They didn't bitch, piss, and moan because their starting goaltender said or someone said we don't have our starting goaltender today. Right. They said, "All right, we've got Korpisalo in net. Right. DiPietro's on the bench, backing him up. Let's do this."
Right.
And then you end up having to turn to DiPietro for 5.5 minutes because Korpisalo gets pulled from that by this concussion spotter,
Right.
and there was no pouting about it. It was just, all right, next man up. That is the definition of the next man up mentality.
Right.
So, and then as I mentioned, Bruce Cassidy was fired on Saturday, and then Brad Treliving fired, what was it, yesterday? 2 days ago? I can't even keep them track anymore. Obviously, the Brad Treliving firing has a little bit more immediate impact on the Bruins in the Atlantic. We'll always remember him for Fraser Minton, a first-round pick, and a fourth-round pick as well, which often goes unforgot. Dom didn't forget that time, the fourth-round pick. So,
yeah, Cassidy getting fired still isn't as bad as when Lou Lamoriello fired Claude Julien with 4 games left. It's just ironic to me that he got fired with the team in a playoff spot. By
the same person who fired him when he was in Washington.
Right. So there's some things going on behind the scenes. I've read speculation that it was a Jake DeBrusk situation with another player. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean,
like you said, that's all been speculative.
Yeah. That's not anything but speculation. I mean, but to replace him with John Tortorella?
Yeah, if you're gonna tell me, like, if this was Bruce Cassidy stepped away from the team and you tell me John Tortorella stepping in, I sit there and I go, okay, that move makes sense because Torts is a guy that many players have reported enjoying playing for. He's a guy who leans on the guys who should be leaned on.
Yeah.
He's a good coach, like. And you're not going to turn back and go to Pete DeBoer again. You're not going to go to there's nobody else out there really other than Pete DeBoer. So like now's not the time for you to turn to Pete DeBoer and say, please take over behind our bench again. We want you to forgive us for the way we sent you out of here. Right. So Torts does make some sense. He's a similar coaching style as that of Bruce, and the systems aren't going to change very much. He doesn't have time. And really, you're just kind of hoping for a guy who can come in, light a spark under some of their players' asses, and just get them through 2.5 months of hockey. Okay, because you're also not going to get many guys who are just going to take on a 2.5-month contract. Torts was kind of in a position where, first of all, he was still getting paid from Philly, so he could take on that contract if he wanted to get back into coaching, and it gives him that runway back into coaching. So does make some sense. But the firing itself to me is just a panic move by Kelly McCrimmon. It puts all the spotlight now on him for this offseason because all of the flaws that have the Golden Knights in third in that division are caused pretty much entirely because of roster construction, which Cassidy had nothing to do with.
Right.
Yeah. I did think it was funny. I know we talked a lot this past offseason about Mitch Marner and his availability and all that stuff towards the end of last year going into the offseason. And I do think it's funny. Like, how would you react if I told you, hey, you're going to lose Charlie McAvoy from your lineup and replace him with a $12 million forward? Does that make any sense to you?
No.
That's what Vegas did. They lost Pietrangelo and they said, let's go get Mitch Marner.
Right.
So, yeah, Vegas is really hoping for that new coach bump at the right time. Yep, that's as James put it. It's just, when you look at it from that perspective, it's not a good roster.
No.
And then they waited to get Rasmus Andersson until basically the last minute, overpaid for him, clearly didn't scout him enough because he hasn't fit in that system at all. You've got defensemen who move the puck in front of a goaltender who needs reliability, and pucks kept to the outside. Like, that's what Adin Hill is. Yeah, that's why he's been exposed all season. Anyway, all that, and yet here we are The Bruins have gone 4-0 in their last 4 games. We did a show obviously on Thursday, so that was before Saturday's game against the Wild and Sunday's game against Columbus and last night's game against Dallas, all of which were wins. I don't think anybody expected Korpisalo to play against Dallas. Played really, really well, though. Dom says Cassidy will work again before I shave. Trust me. Yeah, he probably will.
He's not wrong.
Cassidy could get a new job tomorrow if he wanted to. I just think he's going to take some time, relax a little bit, let the offseason come, and then let all the other offers come in. Kevin says, Vegas is the LA Rams of the NHL. Take all my picks and give me players. Eventually, it's going to blow up on you. Yep, 100%. 100%. So, anyway, I know the comments are coming in a little delayed. We'll pull them up, but this past few days for the Bruins, victories over 4 straight playoff teams. I mean, we can go all the way back to Buffalo.
Right.
How you feeling about the team?
The same way I felt at the beginning of the season. I mean, my opinion has not changed at all. Since before puck drop in October, I said this team was going to be a playoff team. And then
we both did. Our argument was where they were going to finish.
Right.
We had an argument.
They can still make a push for third because they're still only 2 points behind Montreal,
Oh yeah, mathematically they can still win the division mathematically. I think Montreal's playing. They've given up 1 goal in each of their last 4 games. They're playing phenomenal.
Montreal is playing well at the right time. Boston's playing well at the right time. Columbus had a good streak and they're starting to falter. The thing is that this tough schedule is forcing the Bruins to not play down to, you know what I mean? Like it's forcing them to, when they were down, I mean, even being down Korpisalo, the other, who was it? When they were down 3-0, was that who
Columbus.
Was that against? It was against Columbus. They're down 3-0, and I was like, it's still not. It wasn't shocking to me that they came back. You know what I mean?
When you look at the way the first played out, you're sitting there going, "All right, that was a really, really, really bad period." Yeah. But there's still 2 periods left. Let's see what they do in the second. Last year, you'd be sitting there going, all right, what other games are on right now? Because this isn't worth watching. But at least this year, you saw the thing is you saw some fight in that first period, literally. And that made you sit there and go, okay, there's still a spark. If you can get the spark lit, then there's some fire underneath it. Once you get the fire going, well, guess what? You're able to come back and win. Yes, it took you to a shootout, but you don't have a chance if it doesn't go to overtime.
A win is a win is a win. I don't care how you win as long as you win. I mean, they got the 2 points instead of just 1, Yeah. And that's key because it separated them in Columbus because at that point, Columbus was on their heels,
100%.
So it separated them. And then to beat Columbus and then beat Minnesota and beat Dallas.
Which I get it.
Those 2 games were huge.
Which I get. Dallas has a lot of injuries right now, but like you've gone through injuries.
Yeah, but you're still facing Jake Ottinger.
Yeah.
And Jamie Benn's still on the ice. Wyatt Johnston's still on the. I mean, there's still a lot of key players on the. It's not. They're not depleted like Florida's depleted.
No, absolutely, yeah. And it's only like they just got Rantanen back, so like they weren't as depleted as they were a week and a half ago. So like, yeah, they're working on getting healthy, but like, yeah, they don't have Rupe Hintz. Okay, fine. But they could still beat you. They still have multiple 40-goal scorers out there. Like you said, Wyatt Johnston, Jason Robertson, Mikko Rantanen, Miro Heiskanen. These guys, Esa Lindell, they're all still on the ice. So they still got a really good goaltender in Jake Ottinger, and you still put 6 up. the thing is you put 6 up against Minnesota, you put 6 up against Dallas, the 2 toughest teams that people thought you were going in against, you put up 12 goals against.
Right. And you know what? If you are not paying attention to that second line,
yeah, Kevin,
I'm
right here.
sorry. Pavel Zacha and Arvidsson, the way they're scoring in Middlestat, feeding them the puck is just, it's a thing of beauty right now.
Yeah, Kevin says Middlestat I'm starting to like more and more, and then reminds us Sweeney still flipped Eric Holla for top 6 forward Pavel Zacha.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at what Sweeney did, okay, if you go back to July 1st, how many people hated the Arvidsson deal? How many people hated the Jeannot deal?
Can we go back further than that? Because how many people were crapping when all over it when he traded Linus Ullmark?
I don't want to go back that far because that's going back a season. I just want to go back to this off season.
But it all leads into every move he makes. People
don't want to go all the way
and then
back.
they turn out to be fine.
That's too many years ago. I mean, stop. But seriously, like, you look at what these players are doing. You have Elias Lindholm is getting hot again. He's up to what, 17 goals. Arvidsson has 24 goals now. Zacha has over 20. They have more players with 15 and more goals than they don't, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like they're getting scoring from different. Murat Husadinov has what, 16 goals?
Yeah, and I definitely think Kevin's using voice to text because he put the Bruins have rookie Minton and who Sadinov on their top line. I definitely think that's a voice to text typo.
Husadinov.
I don't give a if Dallas was without Hintz. Yeah, no, absolutely. Dom points out that Victor Arvidsson got 3 goals. I think 2 of them were empty net goals. Were all 3 empty net?
Arvidsson, no, 2 were empty nets.
That's what I thought.
One was a layup.
Even Kevin question.
It was only 2 empty netters.
It was basically an empty net.
Yeah. The first goal was on the power play, I thought.
Yeah, he was wide open in front of the net. And then James points out as arguably Hustadinov's biggest fan, getting him for Justin Brezzo was a fleece too. Absolutely.
I mean, someone posted, I have to read this. I have to find it. This won't take me long. You can keep talking.
That's fine. I want to get caught up on a couple of these. James says, if the rumors from Boston and Vegas are true, definitely not a fit for Cassidy in Toronto. He'd last a week before players would be offended by him. Well, maybe that's what they need because even Craig Berube hasn't worked for them. And he also adds, I feel their best odds, the Bruins for a deep run, is to go through the Metro bracket, face Carolina with shaky goaltending, then either Islanders, Pittsburgh, or Columbus. Feel better about that than facing Tampa or Montreal. I'll get to that. I'm glad you put that in the comments. We will get to Trial Exotics question about James Hagens. Let's see, Kevin.
I don't want to see Hagens. No offense.
Do I remember
what
Kevin said
see him now
about Arvidsson when the deal happened? People were pissy, and I said this guy will crack 20 goals and 50 points on the Bruins' second line with power play time. Kevin, I agreed with you on that. But yes, you did say it. I agreed with you on that, and there were a lot of people who were dumping on that deal when it happened. Let's see. For those interested, James said Hustadinov is hosting a meet and greet next week in Peabody on the 10th. Oh, that's a play on his name. It wasn't voice to text typo because the majority of hockey fans say who when you name them.
Oh.
Let's see. I feel like we have to try to re-sign Arvidsson to a short-term deal. At this point, he's been a dog. We'll come back to that. There was also a question about re-signing Pavel Zacha. So we got a couple of things in here that I do want to circle back on. Did you find what you were looking for, though?
So Fraser Minton and Husadinov are both under 25 years old.
Yes.
If they're both younger than 23, aren't they? How old are they?
I'll pull it up because I'm pretty sure Minton is Hustadinov is 23, Minton's 21.
Okay.
But now you also have Reichel in the lineup, who's 23. Like, you have some young guys in this lineup.
Right.
So, Dom, remember when the Bruins were the best regular season team and everyone wanted Florida? How did that end up? Don't pick your opponent. That goes to Trial Exotic Say, give me Montreal round 1. Who also said that Hagens makes your team better for a playoff push. That's all the reason to get him in. So we can circle back to the question about James Hagens if you want to go there now. Did you find what you were looking for?
Yeah, it's not important.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You were looking for it.
No, it's nothing. It's just Fraser Mitten has 16 goals and Husadinov has 15 goals. And those were trades that Don Sweeney, you know what I mean? Like Husadinov last year, everyone was like, oh, why did we get him? He's not making the roster come training camp. He's not going to make the roster of Patra, this, that, the other thing. He's been very consistent for a young player.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. So there's been some talk in the comments and stuff. You mentioned that you don't want to see Hagens this year.
I don't think they need to see Hagens this year.
Well, we got Providence getting ready to play in like 5 minutes here, 7.
Yeah, and he's on a line with Patra and Mark.
Yes. What I want to say with that is let's see him force his way up. You know,
see, my whole thing is that if the team is winning, mm-hmm. and they're performing, who is he pushing?
Kevin.
Who's he pushing out of the lineup?
Which is why I say make him force your hand. If he comes out and puts in another goal and puts up 2 assists tonight, now you start having the conversation of, is this something we need to consider? And then if he goes out on whatever it is, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, whatever, and he has another 5 or 6 points over his next 2 games, that's when you can really start to say, okay, he's better than Providence would like than what we need him for down there. Now, who would we want to have him replace in the lineup? And I know Kevin's screaming his head off right now, going Lucas Reichel. He
already put it up there.
I know. But here's the thing. What has Lucas Reichel done for this lineup? He's gotten Elias Lindholm going again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that has been wonders for Lindholm and Geeky putting Reichel on that line. So, yeah, Dom, I agree. I know someone back here said that the emergency recall for Reichel right here is going to be ending in a few games. Bring Hagens up as a replacement when that is up. I agree. I think they're just going to convert Reichel to a regular recall because, let's see, Reichel has 2 more games left on the emergency recall, so we could have our answer by the weekend. I feel getting him playoff experience would be great. If the Bruins were going to miss, I'd say keep him in Providence for the Calder Cup. You can leave him there anyway. On the ATO, he can stay in Providence. Once he signs the ELC, James, you can't put him back in Providence. So if there's any stretch where you take him out of the lineup, put him on the 9th floor, you have to be ready to put him back in the lineup within a couple games. Otherwise, you're sitting him the rest of the season, and his season is basically cooked because you're not playing him in the playoffs at that point. Dom says Zacha will be the Bruins' 4th highest paid player. I know that's something we got to get back to, the re-signing of Zacha. Let's see. He may end up making the team better, but right now the team's still winning without him. So until you need that jolt, that's a card that you can leave in your pocket.
Yeah.
So I still think the Bruins should have locked up Nick Ritchie to an 8-year extension. Kevin, come on. Don't get married to Reichel. That's ridiculous. I didn't say that Reichel's irreplaceable, Kevin. There's a difference. Also, Lucas Reichel has made that third line better. And let's not forget, Lucas Reichel was, what was it, a 15th overall draft pick just a couple years ago, yeah, he's bounced around between Chicago, who hasn't gone anywhere since they drafted him, and Vancouver. Let's not act like he was playing with, Jack Eichel or Nathan McKinnon, and he couldn't hang with those guys. Like Craig said, why rush the kid? Hagens. Thanks, Craig. Yeah, if you have a reasonably good solution of players right now, you don't need to rush him. Dom says Reichel was on an emergency recall, so they could switch him to regular recall and not worry about waivers, so they could put him back to Providence for the playoffs in case Boston is eliminated. Absolutely.
So I like James's comment right there.
This one here.
Yep.
True. It's just, do you view Calder Cup as a top line player or Stanley Cup playoffs as a third line? Better for his development? Questions Sweeney and Bruins brass need to ask themselves. Well, that's the thing is right now, James Hagens is playing on a top line in Providence. So he's getting used to top line minutes. Then that's where you want him. So why are you going to bring him up to put him in a role where you don't want him to be long-term, to learn that and then have to adjust his NHL knowledge and ability in the offseason or early next season? When you can wait patiently, let him play in Providence. If you need him, if you lose someone in your top six, Middlestat goes down or whatever, now you can look at him. He's proving that you can do that, but you don't have to rush him.
Yeah, this isn't a situation like Chicago or Anaheim, where Malcolm Celebrini came out, you know what I mean, in San Jose, that they had nowhere to go, you know what I mean? So it was like, of course he signed and he got minutes in San Jose. Hagens, they don't need to sign Hagens this year.
And the biggest thing is they're okay with it. Hagens' side is okay with this.
Mm-hmm.
If they weren't, they wouldn't have agreed to the ATO.
Right.
So as long as they are on board and they're not giving you extreme pushback, you're not doing anything wrong. There's nothing to get in a tizzy over. We will always disagree on Hagens is ready and can help the third line more than Reichel. I think Reichel fits your third line better than Hagens does. Yep. Roger McQueen signed his ATO today, and in the ELC that kicks in for next year. Since you mentioned the Ducks, we've been getting a few of those. I know Porter Martone's making his debut, and every player is different. It'd be great if Hagens was in the lineup. I'm not denying that, but at the same time, you're in a playoff race without him.
And both teams are in playoff races. You know what I mean? Providence is playoff bound. The Bruins, if they keep going the way they're going by the end of this month, because it is April, there's not much time left. You know what I mean? So I don't see the benefit of putting him on the third line when he's going to play all the minutes and all the situations in Providence for their playoff run.
Right. Trial adds, third line NHL is better. Get him playing better competition ASAP and burn the year on the ELC, the better the relationship with the player and get closer to re-signing him. So first of all, you're not torching your relationship with the player. We've already established that. So that part's irrelevant. Secondly, third line left wing is not where you want him in your long-term with this organization. You want him to be one of your top two centers going forward, which means you want him playing as much as you can, have him playing down the middle. Mm-hmm. You don't have a glaring need right now on that left wing. If Lucas Reichel was still getting swapped in and out of the lineup for Michael Easimont and Steves, and you were just going through a new third line left wing every other game, yeah, I'd say put Hagens in there and see what he can do.
Oh, and by the way, Elias Lindholm is your third line center right now.
Yeah. Which that's a great landing spot for Hagens if you have that problem in that opening on your left wing. And by the way, the right wing is Morgan Geekie.
Right.
So it's not the same as a normal third line. I get that. But right now, the line has gotten better since you've put Lucas Reichel in there. Could it be even better than that with Hagens? Sure, but you're also rushing someone who's not a left winger to play that position. He can be your Tyler Seguin type player for a run. He will be a matchup nightmare for teams' third lines. No, he won't. No, he won't. Teams in the playoffs would crush this kid. He's played 3 professional games. Like, let's not act. And by the way, he has a goal. He's got a couple points in 3 games. Like, is he good? Yes. Is it a complete indictment? Kevin, I completely disagree with everyone but Gayle because I don't want to get smacked.
That's not
Thanks, Dom.
Don't say that to appease me. If you disagree with me, disagree with me. I don't care.
Ask Tyler Seguin about third line right wing benefited him starting in Boston, didn't hurt his development. No, what hurt his development was his lack of maturity, which he only got once he went to Dallas.
Right.
Also, how often was Tyler Seguin playing center in Boston? He was supposed to be a center replacement for you down the middle. You kicked him over to the wing because that's where you ended up needing him. And what ended up happening, you traded him. Now, you had a couple other really good centers, so you could afford to trade him. And guess what? Right now, if you really, really wanted to, if Lindholm is playing the way he can play, Minton is playing the way he can play, Dean Letourneau continues to develop the way he can down the middle, you have a plethora of centers. And I'm not saying trade Hagens, but you traded Tyler Seguin. Like, Hagens might get Geeky going. He has tremendous vision, and Geeky needs a setup, man. Geeky right now is just snake bitten. We've seen him go through this before. Like, his own play has been fine. He's just not scoring. You know, as long as he continues to shoot, and I think Lucas Reichel has a better chance at helping with Elias Lindholm get him the puck because he's got the speed. He gets in, and not to say Hagens doesn't have the speed. It's just, again, you already have a winning roster. Someone asked earlier about the chemistry, the importance of the chemistry and stuff like that. If you bring Hagens up right now and you let him jump over every player who's been with this team so far throughout the season, like, the reason why everyone in that locker room is fine with Lucas Reichel being on that third line is because they've seen Alex Steeves and Michael Eyssimont fight in that role all season, and then they gave Lucas Reichel a shot when they were both not playing well. Lucas Reichel came in, took the spot, and solidified it. He earned his spot in that locker room. If you all of a sudden just let this kid jump in out of nowhere while you're in the middle of a playoff race, they're going to not let anything get out. But yeah, there are going to be some players in that locker room who look side-eyed at that situation and go, why did he get to jump the line? Like, you can look at him all you want and go, well, he's a 7th overall draft pick. And they're going to go, that's not my problem. It's not my fault you picked him 7th.
Right.
This might be a winning roster, but it's not a cup roster without Hagens. All right. Right now, is this roster a cup winning roster with Hagens?
Oh, my God.
Seguin barely played during his 2011 playoff run as a rookie. I don't think they even played him till the Tampa series. First of all, no, they didn't play him until the Tampa series, which kind of goes to show you that they didn't trust the rookie in the playoffs. They put him in because they were desperate, and it worked. Now, if you get in the same situation and you're playing against a team like that in the playoffs, and you need a kick in the offense.
By the way, in his tenure with Boston, 2011 was the only time he scored a playoff goal.
Yeah. But if you need that kind of kick in the pants in the playoffs, I'd be sitting here going, yeah, play James Hagens, throw him in the lineup. You're desperate. You need something. Throw the Hail Mary. You don't need to throw a Hail Mary right now. It's not a cup roster even with Hagens. There you go. So if you're not a cup winning team with Hagens and you're not a cup winning team without Hagens, what's the problem in not playing Hagens other than I want to see him in the NHL? Like, yeah, that's just a personal opinion. But the matter of fact, and thank you to Craig Eagles for jumping in, like there are plenty of people within the game who sit there and go, Providence is not a bad place for him because you still can call him up. If Hagens is the difference between a cup and no cup, he'd already be in the NHL. Let's see. Right now, who is a better player right now, Hagens or Reichel? Well, what's the position that you're putting him in? If you're putting him on third line left wing, I'd rather have Reichel there. If you're putting him on second line center, I'd rather have Hagens there. But also, if you're putting him at second line center right now, chances are you're not as close to the playoffs.
But if you're putting him at second line center, that means you're moving middle stat. You're not. You're still
right.
Not,
there's a lot of other things that are going on.
Still not just swapping Reichel and Hagens.
Right. It's not a 1-for-1. There, that, like I said, there's more going on with your roster. But if you're asking me, you need to plug a hole on your roster. Well, where's the hole on your roster? Right now, we've already established the only hole that you could open up is that left wing on the third line. And that's Reichel's right now. Because Hagens can get valuable experience going into next season at the NHL level because he is most likely on your starting roster to start next season. He's also getting valuable time in Providence. Like, that to say he's getting valuable experience, yeah, he's playing in Providence right now with guys who've been in the NHL before. Like, let's see him beat AHL goaltending before you ask him to beat NHL goaltending on a regular basis. Come on. I'd rather have Hagens get top-line playoff minutes with Providence than minimum minutes in the playoffs for Boston. 100%.
Yeah.
I'm not breaking up that second line until their magic goes away.
Correct.
Yeah. Also, are you breaking up the first line right now? Minten, Hustadinov, and Pastrnak? What's your reason to break that one up?
Right.
So the only two lines you're breaking up are your fourth line and your third line. And right now, Kevin says Hagens is a better winger and center right now than Reichel. Right now, you're winning with Reichel on that in that spot. There's no need to change him. Maybe Hagens is better in that role overall when he gets there. Right now, you're not forced to put him there.
Mm-hmm.
And what do we know Don Sweeney loves when it comes to building out his roster? He loves to have options.
Right.
And right now, leaving Hagens in Providence is that option that gives you more options.
Mm-hmm.
Personally,
I don't see. I honestly, I just don't see the necessity of messing with a roster that's working, that's beating top teams, because fans are being selfish and they want Hagens in the lineup.
Yeah. The only people who have, let's see, I have a lesson controversial topic for you. How about Fabian Lysell? I did want to get to this one here. Play Hagens, Minten, Pasta, and bump Kuzi to the fourth line and bump someone on the fourth line out. No. First of all, Hagens, Minten, Pasta, you have no guaranteed defensive effort on that line as far as the ability for anyone to get back other than Fraser Minten, and that's putting a lot of defensive pressure on him unnecessarily because Husnudinov helps with that when they're paired together as well. Now, if Hagens can continue to prove that he is as defensively viable as can play next to a Fraser Minton and a David Pastrnak, then yeah, in the future, I certainly wouldn't hate that line, but not with Minton at 21 and Hagens at 19. Like, no, it's just not, it's not defensively sound enough to work in this system. Let's see. The third line on the Bruins right now today is a great spot for Hagens playing alongside Geeky and Lindholm. You cannot ask for a better start for that kid. Yes, you could. Well, I already addressed the Hagens Minton Pasta line.
So last week we couldn't get off the Potter conversation. This week we're not going to get off Hagens.
No. Well, let me bring this one back because I never actually asked you about it. Someone asked about what do you re-sign Pavel Zacha for? And my answer to that one is wait till July. You can't even sign the extension until July 1. So don't even bother calling his agent and asking about a re-sign until July 1.
Right.
It's not worth it. You could sit here and go back and forth with numbers all you want, but he can't sign a contract until July 1. So then you have an entire year to get it done. Let's see where other things go as far as what the market looks like before just giving him a contract and whatnot. Like, I pick up the phone July 1. We're interested in extending him. Where do you guys sit? Let us know.
I'm sure they've been talking about
yeah,
extension. It's not that they haven't been talking, because Sweeney has said numerous times that Pavel Zacha is part of his long-term plan.
100%. Yeah, he's going to get, as long as he signs before mid-September, he's going to get probably an 8-year deal.
Yeah.
He's 28, almost 29. I think it's a no-brainer to give him that 8-year deal, especially because it's going to coincide with, or maybe it's 7 years, whatever. But it'll coincide with Pasternak's deal. He is the guy that you want next to Hagens next season. Let's see. I'd be fine with 4 years for Zacha at Geeky's money. Again, I think when it comes to the dollars and term, you start that conversation in July, but yeah, I don't see why it would be less than 6-7 years, honestly. There was a comment back here. Hustadinov works great with Pastrnak when he was able to get the puck with his forecheck and play in the corners. Find Pasta and great chances. I don't think he'd do the same with less skill forwards. Someone also, right here. Hustadinov is not a first liner on a contender. I mean, right now you're in the playoffs and he's your first liner, so that's just wrong.
Well, I think that a lot of people have a difference of opinion on contender versus a playoff team.
Well, I'm glad you said that. Let me ask you this, because I know Dom made the comment too about, remember when you tried to pick your opponent and you picked Florida and then you got eliminated in the first round. Let me ask you this. What team currently in the Eastern Conference playoff picture, and we can even go down to Ottawa, Detroit, because they're just one win away from being tied for the second wildcard spot. But basically from Detroit up, what team scares you?
None. The only team in this league that scares me is Colorado.
And even then, you delivered the first loss to them.
I know, I understand that, but it's a little bit different
going I get
into the playoffs, because Colorado, that roster has a lot more experience.
100%. No, I get exactly what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, as scared as you are against Colorado, how long was it into the season when you were their only loss in regulation? So, like, even that team, you've proven you can beat. There is not a team in the Eastern Conference that I look at and I go, I don't want to face them.
Right.
Like, James, you say Tampa is the only one in the East. The problem with Tampa, they don't have Hedman. Kucherov has missed time due to injury, and you're one of the few teams that consistently can score on Andrei Vasilevsky. Don't forget you posted 6 on him earlier. You've posted 4, 5, and 6 goals on him on a regular basis. So Vasilevsky is not scary to you as a team. And without Hedman in that lineup, we don't know when he's getting back. Overall, they've been banged up. There's nothing scary about the Tampa Bay Lightning. Could they beat you? Sure, yeah. Especially if they have home ice advantage. Like if you're in wild card 1, you don't get home ice advantage pretty much at any point in the playoffs. That's the scariest factor for you. Buffalo's the scariest team in the East. You just went in and manhandled them. And they don't have any experience in the playoffs. They brought in guys from Winnipeg who do. I think there's one, maybe two guys. Two, I think, because Bowen Byram has a cup, but can you really count his when he was 19 riding coattails on that Colorado team? Like, it wasn't like he was part of a leadership group or part of the core or anything like that. He played well, but he was
just like Tyler Seguin.
Exactly. Yeah, he's got a cup to his name, but he it's not like Sidney Crosby has a cup to his name in the same way. Right. They're weighted a little different. They had to go out and get playoff experience at the trade deadline because they had none. Mm-hmm. There's nothing scary about Buffalo in the playoffs until they prove otherwise. And quite frankly, who's their starting goaltender? Luukkonen, who you've beaten regularly, or Alex Lyon, who might give you a hard time? Like Carolina, I got no issues playing against them. Brandon Bussy's hitting his wall. He is getting exhausted. He's played more games than he's ever played. Mm-hmm. And it's starting to show. Yeah, and it's funny. As soon as I say that, Wanderers 2 WA says, and Hurricanes have had the Bruins number forever. Yeah, but they don't have goaltending right now. Frederik Andersen has played like crap, and Brandon Bussy is hitting that wall. You can see it in his play. Even when they win, you can still see it. So this Bruins team has every bit of an advantage as they do a disadvantage against anyone in the East. And as you have said, Gayle, name a team that's going to go into a series and go, yay, we get to play the Bruins.
Right. I mean, a lot of people are counting the Bruins out because they're in a wild card spot. But one thing that has been said over and over and over again is that when you have to play a team like the Boston Bruins in a 7-game series, a heavy, hard-hitting team,
it helped wear down Columbus on Sunday.
Huh?
It helped wear them down. It helped wear Columbus down on Sunday.
Yeah.
Bruins will be lucky to get out of the first round and definitely not getting past the second round. Sure, Kevin. When the matchups come out, Kevin, we'll revisit it, but I don't think so. But I will say this too, Kevin. Aren't you the one earlier at the beginning of the season who said this team had no shot at the playoffs? And meanwhile, Gayle and I are sitting here arguing as to whether or not they would finish in contention for a wild card spot or first in the division. Mm. Which, by the way, they're 6 points out of the division, and they're 6 points up on wild card 2?
Yeah, right.
So, like, they're equal distance apart from where you thought they would be, where I thought they would be, because I thought they'd be in the position where Columbus is in, fighting for that last spot. They're pretty much dead middle between what we had said. Tom points out Brandon Bussy and James Hagens have the same agent, so James says Hagens to Carolina. It's confirmed. Okay, well, Kevin, they have like a 98% chance of making the playoffs now. Is that still, quote unquote, likely to miss? So what did you think about how Sturm handled the goaltending? I know we talked very little bit about it on Thursday, but he went with Swayman against Toronto, and then it was Korpisalo against Buffalo, then Swayman, Korpisalo against Dallas.
Right.
Obviously, it's worked. So even in hindsight, we can say it wasn't the wrong move.
No, I mean, I guess, I mean, at this time of the year, and Sturm said it last night, every game for them is a playoff game.
Yeah.
They're looking at it that every game is a playoff game. So they're playing their game. When they don't play their game is when they make mistakes and they get lost a little bit. But I mean, a couple of the goals, you could go either way and say, Sway would want one back, Corpusalo would want one back. But there was the one last night. I think it was Dallas's first goal. That went off the post, off the crossbar, and in.
Yeah.
And it was like right outside the crease. I mean, there was nothing Corpusalo could have done there. So it doesn't matter who's in net. Like that puck was going in, whether it was Swayman or Corpusalo.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, like I said, obviously in hindsight, we can sit here and go, he's made the right moves. He's made the right call. But for those who are saying that they should just dump Corpusalo and have DiPietro in the number 2 role, this stretch from Toronto to now proves why you have Jonas Corpusalo. Mm-hmm. Because I don't care what game you're sitting Swayman in this stretch, DiPietro's not winning his game.
I'm shaking my head at Kevin's comment.
This one here. So if they're going to make the playoffs, but that's not where it was projected to be, they have had a lot of luck to get to this point. I don't see that luck continuing in the playoffs.
I don't see the Bruins having a lot of puck luck. Every game that they've won, they've earned. That's not luck.
They've gotten some bounces their way, sure, but it's an 82-game regular season. Every team has bounces that go their way and bounces that don't.
How many games did Charlie McAvoy miss? How many games did Hampus Lindholm miss?
How many did they miss together?
Did David Pastrnak miss? How many games did Pavel Zacha miss? I mean, they've had injuries just like every other team. And other than there was a very short period of time where they weren't in the playoff picture, but they've been in the playoff picture all season long. It's not like they're Toronto or Florida or Philadelphia or,
Vancouver.
The other teams in the East that are, struggling. Even Ottawa has been has not been consistent. The Bruins have been consistent.
Yeah. And you mentioned those injuries, but let's not forget that, Kastelic missed some time. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember who else. Arvidsson missed a few games. Middlestat missed a couple games, if I remember correctly.
Let's not forget, I mean, on the back end, on the blue line, how many injuries have the defensemen had?
Oh my God. I don't know if they have a single defenseman who's played all season. Right now they have, I'll do the cutoff of 70 games. They've played 75. Mm-hmm. So 70 games you've had Peak, Hustadinov, Pastrnak, which means they've missed 5 games. Then Jeannot, Zacha, Zadorov, Geeky have all missed at least a couple games as well. The only ones who have played all 75 games are Sean Kuraly, Mark Kastelic, and Fraser Minton.
Right.
And let's see. So you also had, how many teeth has McAvoy had miss this season? He's missed games just because he got a puck to the face. That's not even.
Lindholm has missed time.
Yeah, you want to talk about the fact that they've gotten some luck. Sure, they've gotten good luck and a lot of bad luck too. So, let's see. Go look at advanced metrics and your tune will change. For the amount they shoot, they are scoring at what is considered a very lucky rate. Okay, and when games get tighter in the playoffs, they have the goaltender who can help keep the opposition's goals down too. They play defensive structure. When they play it well, they limit other teams' chances.
They held Dallas to 16 shots on net.
Yeah, they give up a lot of high danger chances. A lot of those were also given up when they were learning the system at a time when they were not able to practice. Like, we're 75 games into this now. They have a lot better understanding. So go look at those advanced metrics, Kevin, and see what they look like from the start of the season until now, and then eliminate up until the Olympic break, and then look at them again. You know, like, because even the penalty kill was horrible to start the season.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since the Olympic break, it's been dominant.
Well, their penalty kill was phenomenal. Then it was wearing on them because they were taking way too many penalties, and too many of their key penalty killers, like Charlie McAvoy, were out. And then,
yeah, when you really look at that, the penalty kill really suffered when you lost Hampus Lindholm, Charlie McAvoy. You had
and then Zadorov was in the box.
Zadorov was the guy in the box. You had Jordan Harris, who was out at the time. Like, there was a time when
not
we
to
were
mention
looking at
Elias Lindholm, which is one of your top penalty killers.
right. And let's not forget, they had Kolyachonok had to come in off of waivers. They brought up Victor Soderstrom for a couple of games. Like, you went deep into your defensive depth for parts of this season. Like, it's been brutal on that back end. And as Dom says, I love analytics. However, there isn't an analytic that measures outworking your opponent.
Right.
And that's what we saw on, because Kevin, if you look at your analytics and what your numbers all say, and trust me, I'm a numbers guy too, but you also got to be able to look at the game and look at what happens. All the numbers would tell you after that first period in Columbus on Sunday, no chance to win this game. Pack up and go home.
Kevin, why are you such a pessimist? Why are you such a half glass full? Half empty. Why can't you be half full? Why can't you say that they just put up 12 goals in 2 games?
Dom, I never said they haven't been working hard, because they have been, but they have been scoring at a rate that is considered lucky most of the season. Yeah, but they are scoring at it. Like, just because numbers say, oh, this might be luck, they're still doing it. They're putting in the work to get there. I'm taking nothing away from how hard Sturm has them work. Like, yeah, you're trying to. You're saying that they're getting too much luck. Need to start tracking work per minute. Just need to watch each individual player for the entire game and judge when they're working and when they're not. Simple, right? Yeah, that pretty much find a way to track work per game.
The Bruins have scored 252 goals. The league average is 228.
Which I guess that makes them lucky. I mean, they're 8th in goals for this season. They're not at the top. Remember at the beginning of the season when they were leading the league in goals scored? Like, to fall from 1st all the way down to 8th, that's a considerable drop, which means you went a stretch without scoring.
But out of 32 teams, is that really that bad?
No. And obviously, like, that average that you're talking about, that's going to get skewed when you have Vancouver only scoring 182 goals. Like, you have several teams under the 200 goal mark. So that skews the average.
And let's not forget the fact that if this was the 1-8 format, which it's not, but if it was the 1-8 format, that was much better, in my opinion. The Bruins are 5th in the conference. 5th in the conference.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, in the league,
they're 8th. They're 8th in the league.
You don't get 8th in the league in the standings by luck.
Yeah.
Especially when, by the way, some of the teams that are ahead of you, Carolina, Buffalo, Tampa Bay, and Montreal, you play those teams on a regular basis. Team in 1st, Colorado, you've beaten them. Buffalo, you've beaten them. Carolina, you've beaten them. Dallas, you just beat them. Like, you've beaten every team ahead of you. It's just, let's not forget, they had a horrible stretch where they lost, 7 in a row at one point?
Yes. And that was, in November or October, November? I forget when it was.
And they also weren't practicing?
Right.
So I just look at this for what it is. The Bruins aren't cup contenders yet. They are outperforming themselves this year, and that is great, but a lot of work still needs to be done. First of all, no one's disputing that there needs to be work done to this roster. There's still a lot of work to be done left this year. You've only played 75 games. You have 7 more games left and then a playoff.
Every roster across the NHL.
Right. You name a roster.
Is perfect.
Yeah, you name a roster that's ready, like you know what I mean? Like how many, like even Vegas, people want to fawn all over Vegas. They've only won 1 cup. They still have a ton of work to do. Colorado, they've only won 1 cup. The teams that have won the back-to-backs are Florida and Tampa. Obviously, Pittsburgh did it a while ago as well, but like that, the threshold right now that players that fans want their team to be at is that ability to go back-to-back, because that's like the new thing. You're not a good enough team if you can't go back-to-back. Well, if you can't get 1, you can't get 2. And, Colorado's only gotten 1. Carolina hasn't gotten any. Dallas hasn't gotten any. And yet Jim Nill's won GM of the Year 3 times. So, like, yes, they still work their asses off. Let's see. Me saying that they have had a lot of luck to get to this point isn't saying they still haven't had to work hard to win those hockey games like the Patriots outperforming themselves this season. See, Kevin, the very first line you put here is, I just look at this for what it is. You're not. Because you're not looking at the Boston Bruins as the 8th best team in the league, which they are. By standards of the standings, they are the 8th best team in this league. Period. That's not luck. Yes, there's some luck involved, but guess what? Now Vancouver's hoping for luck to be on their side to get the first overall pick. It's all a matter of what kind of luck do you want to have. Because right now, the Bruins are hoping to get lucky with that Toronto draft pick. Like, the Bruins, believe it or not, are very close. They're much closer to a best case scenario than fans realize. We just went over this the teams in the East. This team has the potential to go on a cup run. They have the potential. So I'm looking at a roster that has outperformed what they should have done. That is what it is. Kevin, this is exactly what she and I said they were going to do.
Why are they outperforming what they should have done? Victor Arvidsson is a 20-goal scorer. Pavel Zacha is a 20-goal scorer. Morgan Geekie is at least a 20-goal scorer, which we know he's more than that.
He said he's a 34. Geekie's going to be a 35-goal scorer.
Right. But I'm just saying, you're looking at, like, how are guys, I mean, what the problem is that you didn't expect them. You didn't want to believe that Sweeney could put together guys that could build chemistry, and you wanted them to fail.
If you came into the season going, hey, Morgan Geekie can hit 30 to 35 goals. Pasternak's going to hit 30 to 35 goals, possibly 40, because he can do 40 to 45. You've got Zacha, who's going to go above 30 goals. Victor Arvidsson's going to be 25 to 30. Elias Lindholm's going to be around 20. People were asking, where are these goals going to come from? These are the guys. This is what we said was able to happen. They're playing to what they can do.
Right.
2 people isn't a majority. You are fans of the team. Of course, you would have a bold take. What are you talking about, Kevin?
No, and the other thing is, too, is that I, from the get-go, said that Jeremy Swayman was going to have a bounce-back year compared to last year.
He should be in the Vezina conversation.
Because last year he was so distracted, didn't have a preseason, didn't have training camp. And then the team in front of him, with everything that was going on, that he had a chip on his shoulder. And if you don't think that he's been lights out since the Olympic break, then I don't know what to tell you.
He should be, and pretty much at this point has gotten himself into the conversation for the Vezina. He has more goals save above expected than anybody but Ilya Sorokin. I believe it's Sorokin who's ahead of him. If you looked at Jeremy Swayman last year and said he can't get back to where he's been, that's a you problem.
Right.
Like, if we're just going around in circles here, we might as well move on from it. I have my views on the team and you have yours, and that's okay. Well, Kevin, you're sitting here saying they've outperformed what you expected, but you are the one who had the expectations super, super low. That's on you. Like, and quite frankly, you're sitting here going, "Oh, two people, the two of us aren't a majority." Like, no, there's been a lot of people who have looked. Yeah, there were a lot of people who looked at the Bruins and said they don't even have a chance in hell to make the playoffs. There were a lot of people looking back at them going, "Why the hell not?" This is why not. So, the big question was, were they going to get the goal scoring? Yes, they're getting the goal scoring. Period. Swayman's been fantastic all season, not just since the Olympic break. Like, you can go back all the way. Like, he's had some stinker games, sure. Every goalie has some stinker games in a season. But
especially this schedule. Like, let's not forget how many games they played before the Olympic break and after the Olympic break. And how they literally, like we talked about at the beginning of the season, were playing 4 or 5 games a week that they had literally no time to practice because they were either traveling or they had to give their bodies rest.
They also have 7 games this month, 2 of them at home. A lot of people had low expectations for this roster, a majority of people, and that's my last word on it. Yeah, Kevin, and those people were wrong. It's okay to say that you were wrong. You just don't seem to want to do that. And that's fine. Anyway, so we got Florida tomorrow, and then back-to-backs with Tampa and Philly, and then Carolina, all of them on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously,
you got to give them props for figuring out their road woes.
Yeah, I mean, they got the dub in Buffalo, they got the dub in Detroit, and they got the dub in Columbus.
And they also, but it started back in Washington. That was their first win.
Well, they dropped the next 2 on the road though, New Jersey and Montreal.
Right, but Montreal and New Jersey were both overtime losses. So technically, yes, they dropped them, but at least they skated away with a point.
Yes, and that was at a crucial time where points, and I mean, obviously points still matter.
Right.
But I mean, if you look at where you are mathematically, first of all, Florida, honestly, I'd go Korpisalo, Florida. Like, that roster, they just had like 6 skaters say that they're done for the season.
Oh, I know. Paul Maurice has said that he believes there's only 1 injured player coming back.
Yeah, it's
there's no reason for them to,
The only reason why you go Florida is because, or Swayman in Florida, is because you are then going to play him again in Tampa, which, based on the history the recent history you have with Tampa, do you want him getting this game, or do you want him potentially getting a playoff game against them?
Well, and that's why I would rather see Swayman against Tampa, just to get that look again at that team that they could possibly be playing. That to me is a huge matchup going forward. So yeah, I wouldn't mind. But again, so if you look at the schedule, hold on.
I think it also dictates too. Like, I think you go Swayman, Florida.
Swayman could play Florida and Tampa, and then you give Korpisalo Philadelphia.
Well, here's the other thought as well: is if you go Swayman, Florida, Tampa, if you give Swayman all 4 of them, hear me out.
Well, you're not going to give him the back-to-back, because Tampa and Philadelphia is a back-to-back. You're not going to do that.
They gave him a back-to-back already.
I know,
If
but
you haven't clinched,
they're not going to do it this time. They're because they also have Tampa and Columbus coming up the next weekend in a back-to-back. Those games matter more than Philadelphia.
If you haven't clinched by then. If you can win against Florida and you can win against Tampa, you potentially could be in a position where by Philly, based on other teams' results, you could clinch against Philly or Carolina, which means you don't have to start Swayman at all in those last 3 games if you've clinched and guaranteed yourself a playoff.
You don't want a cold goaltender going.
No, I think what you would do at that point is you'd be able to do, say, DiPietro one of those games, Korpisalo one of those games, and then you give Swayman the New Jersey game.
No, they're not going to have DiPietro come up and play a game. It's either going to be Korpisalo or Swayman.
I don't think so, but I mean, if you have the roster flexibility to do it,
but Sweeney's not going to do that. Sweeney's not going to mess with the chemistry of the locker room just to give Swayman an extra day off when he can sit on the bench when it's an extra day off.
I mean, I don't see a call up for a game. Like the thing is, it changes if you've clinched a playoff spot. That's my point.
But he's not going to do that. When has he ever done that? Even in their historic season, Swayman and Ullmark did not get a night off. They didn't call up a goaltender and give them a night off or a week off or anything like that. That's not how they operate. Come on.
No, I just think if you can clinch by Carolina and then you have 3 days off before Tampa, Columbus, New Jersey, that might change how you approach the goaltending in some capacity.
Why? Because from Carolina to Tampa Bay, you have 3 days off.
That's my point.
So why are you going to call? Why?
It doesn't necessarily have to mean it's a call up. All right. You could do Korpisalo Saturday and then Sunday Swayman and then Korpisalo against New Jersey on the Tuesday to end the season. That could be the pattern instead. But my point being is you said there's no shot they do a back-to-back with Swayman between Tampa and Philly, and they've already done it once. There's absolutely a chance they could, especially if there's a clinching scenario.
Not this late in the season, because they have trust in both their goaltenders. That's the difference. They have trusted. He would not have given Korpisalo the start in Buffalo or the start against Dallas if he didn't think his team could win.
But if you just said that the belief was in the team to win.
Right. So, but they're not going to rest their goaltenders. Either Korpisalo or Swayman is getting the net for the remaining 7 games.
I would put 98% on that, yeah.
I'm putting 100% on it.
I'm just not ready to rule out the other 2%. That's all. Also, in that I think the equation of looking at their schedule, their remaining schedule, could change when they clinch a spot and can no longer be eliminated. That's all. They just played two games in a row back to back last week, didn't they? Yes, they did, Kevin. That was the crux of me bringing it up. Let's see. The Bruins have turned the corner on the road. That was something I did not expect down the stretch with the schedule. Because of that, they will be in the playoffs. That was huge. I mean, they're still able to be eliminated, but yeah, I mean, they basically get that win against Florida, and you're probably pretty much in. Obviously, you've got to have some stuff go your way. Let's see, that's Thursday. Yeah. Just looking at the rest of the lineup that night, and I mean that's the thing is with where you are in the standings, you are now trying to jockey for third in the Atlantic as opposed to second wild card, because if you can get Ottawa back into that second wild card spot, then it doesn't matter Pittsburgh, New York, or Columbus. They're fighting for second and third in the Metro.
So you think that they have a better chance of jockeying for third with DiPietro?
No, no. It also depends, because if Montreal keeps winning at their pace, then you don't have a chance at third. And if you get locked into wild card one, again, that's all schedule
Who's your
dependent.
number one? Who's your starting goaltender game one of the playoffs?
Swayman.
So you think that they're just gonna not give Corpusalo the rest of the games if just to keep him fresh in case Swayman gets hurt? They're gonna call up DiPietro instead.
Oh, in case Swayman gets hurt, huh?
But you're talking out of, you know what I mean? Like if they're jockeying for third in the division, then they're not calling up DiPietro. They're playing Swayman or Corpusalo. And
Yeah.
then if Montreal for some reason keeps the distance and the Bruins cannot get out of the best position they can get is wild card one, you still don't think that they're gonna play Corpusalo the remaining games and they're gonna not keep him fresh, but
You can't give Kevin windows like that. No, I don't disagree with what you're saying. I don't at all. And quite frankly, having watched DiPietro his last few games and Zazacek, neither one of their games right now are at a point right now where I'm looking at them going, they've got to get a game in the NHL.
But I'm not looking at them regardless of saying they have to give them a game in the NHL, because it's you want your goaltending to be consistent heading into the playoffs. Who sits their goaltenders before the playoffs? Who? No one. No one.
Teams who don't have one.
Well, maybe teams that have no shot of making the playoffs, they call up their AHLers to, and they say, all right, let's give you your shot, but not teams that are heading into the playoffs.
Or the ones that are trying to figure out who the hell their goaltender is going to be in the playoffs. Vegas.
Right. You know what I mean? Like it is 98+% that Swayman is your number one goaltender to start the playoffs. He took that net.
No. It's 100%. The only thing that prevents him from starting in the number one playoff game is injury.
Right. So he took that net from Allmark, and it's his net. It's been his net since that Toronto series. It's been his net since the Toronto series, right? When they won the last time they won a round. Okay. But you really think that Sturm's going to go, okay, so we're going to not have Swayman practice or sit on the bench. He's just going to, he's going to be up on the 9th floor. We're going to call up DiPietro. Or we're going to have Corpusalo sit on the 9th floor and DiPietro is going to, it's not going to happen. Not going to happen.
I don't see it being likely. I don't. You mentioned, I'm looking at the time, realizing that it's already almost 8:00. Yeah. You mentioned earlier that you wanted to talk about the fleet as well. Mm-hmm. So unless there's anywhere else on the Bruins that you want to get to, I know we went on our Hagens adventure for quite some time.
Yeah.
But aside from that, is there anything else on the Bruin side of things that you wanted to get to?
If I'm Sweeney, if I can bring Arvidsson back again on a 1 or a 2 year deal, I'd do it, but I'm not giving him more than 2 years.
Is it wrong for my answer to say it's all dependent on what happens the rest of this year?
No, you can say that.
Because
I view Arvidsson almost like a recce.
Yeah.
He's got that veteran presence that helps the younger guys. He goes to the dirty areas to score goals. He, he can score garbage goals, he can score finesse goals. You know what I mean? Like, he's a well-rounded player. Yeah, he doesn't have the pedigree of Mark Recchi, but let's be honest. Mark Recchi was not expected to be the player that he was.
No, he was brought in for locker room reasons.
Right.
And
even winning
and
cup,
really,
even when he won a cup with Pittsburgh, it's not like he led the team. You know what I mean? Like, Mark Recchi admits it himself.
Yeah. Arvidsson, he's got in 87 playoff games, he's got 44 points. So, like, he is someone who's been to the playoffs before in his career, knows what it's like, and obviously still has a drive to get to that third round and the finals because he's never gotten that far before. And so he's going to have that drive. Recchi had the drive to get back there. Yes, he had won a cup, but he absolutely wanted another one. And that's not to discount anyone who doesn't have a cup, but like he's gotten close before. I believe he was with Nashville when they did. Was he with Nashville? Was the 16-17 the year they went to the final? I just got to remember if that was. I'm just checking to see that. So he was on that team. He was on he did get to the finals, and that was the 16-17 season when they lost to Pittsburgh. So he's dying to get back there, which still is the whole point. And we went through it. This is a roster that has the chance, as much as anybody else in the East. Once you get to the Cup final, you're going to go up against anybody from the West who is beat to shit. You're going to be beat to shit too because of your own path, but you've got guys who have put this kind of beating on their bodies all season. Zadorov, Kastelik, Jeannot, like those are guys that have been physical all season. So all of a sudden ramping up for the physicality of the playoffs isn't going to really phase them all that much.
Right.
This is why you have those guys, And so if this team gets to the Cup final, win or lose, I'm not sure I bring back Arvidsson.
I think it depends. I think it depends on how close are they, how much of an impact he had in the postseason, how much impact he had, how many points does he score in the playoffs? You know what I mean? Is he scoring like he is right now? You know what I mean? Because then bringing him back on a 1-year deal, it doesn't mean he has to be, if like Hagens is ready and this one's ready and that one's ready. I know I brought up the word.
I know. Well, Kevin brought the other one up in the comments here.
I know. I saw it. I chose to ignore it. But you know what I mean? Like there's so many, there's a lot of what ifs, but I mean,
Kevin
says he can, if you know what I mean? Like if the younger players are ready to push for those lineup spots, then there's no reason why Arvidsson doesn't get bumped down to your third line. You know what I mean? If your younger guys are pushing for your top 6. I mean, there's a lot of different things. I think it depends on so much.
I look at the roster that you have already going into next season, and I go, there's only 2 openings as of right now. Lucas Reichel as a restricted free agent and Victor Arvidsson, who's an unrestricted free agent. Everybody else in the forward group is coming back. On the back end,
as of right now, you don't know what Sweeney's going to do for
but that's what I'm saying is like, yeah, there has to be some other moves and whatnot. So, at that point, okay, so who do you look at and go, okay, we can trade that person? Right. Like Casey Middlestat is one of those guys. Well, if you're going to trade Casey Middlestat, that means you don't have the Zacha, Middlestat, Arvidsson line coming back, the one that struck lightning in a bottle this year. So
Right.
either you're blowing that line up entirely, or you're trying to keep the entire thing and hope it has the same luxury next year as it was this year.
But that doesn't mean that Elias Lindholm can't slot into that second line center and build that chemistry with Zacha and Arvidsson or Hagen. You know, if Hagens moves into, maybe Hagens ends up with Husadinov and Pasternak and Fraser Mittens on the, you know what I mean? Like there's so many different X factors that we don't know yet.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not ready to just throw a contract out there and say you bring him back. I know Beamer is saying I would be willing to do a 3x5 for Arvidsson. Anything more, I'd let him walk. I don't even know if I'd go 3 years. Like right now, I'm not comfortable with that deal because I don't know how this year ends. Wander says, considering a lot of players are having career years, it's not unreasonable to think they are overachieving. But
the people that are having career years are the kids that don't have the
careers.
Like who besides Pasternak and Geeky are having, I mean, Pasternak gets his assist total that is, you know what I mean? Like you're looking at Fraser Minten, you're looking at Husadinov. Arvidsson's not having a career year. You know what I mean? Pavel Zacha, yeah, he's definitely, but he's also been here for a few years. So the same thing happened with Geeky, where you know he found his footing and he found his line mates that he works well with. That's not overachieving. You expected Pavel Zacha to put up these numbers.
And Victor Arvidsson is a resurgent season. You could say that would be an accurate. Better.
Yeah.
Victor Arvidsson is having a season statement. He had way seasons of this in Nashville when he had guys like Phil Forsberg playing with him, you know, and I'm trying to remember who else he had on some of those lines, but like he was a top line winger in Nashville. He had seasons where he was a 60-point scorer, 30 goals like multiple times. He was just being underutilized in LA. And I mean, he had a good season in LA his second year there. Injuries hurt him in LA, and then he was underutilized and improperly used in Edmonton. They looked at him and said, you can be a third or fourth line scoring grinder type for us. And he's just not, you know, you look at his time on ice and the way he was utilized, it just doesn't fit. And now in Boston, he's being used in a way that complements what he can do. It's by no stretch a career year, but it's certainly a career-saving season for him. You know, Morgan Geeky, almost 30, you know, he'll be a 35 goal scorer. But we saw this from him last year. The only question was, could he do it again? And you weren't going to give him a 5x5? Was that his contract or something like that? If you didn't think he could do it again.
3x5. 3x5.
For Geeky?
Oh, sorry.
His was
I thought you were talking. I'm sorry. I thought you asked a different. You're breaking up. You're coming in and out, so I could barely hear you.
Oh, sorry. No, the expectation or the question with Morgan Geeky was, could he do it again? And if you had no belief that he could do it again, you wouldn't have re-signed him to the contract that you gave him. Right. You mentioned Pavel Zacha. Yeah, it's a career goal-scoring season for him, but he's been around 60 points several times in his career. Whoop, I think I froze again.
You did.
Can you still hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay. But yeah, he's hovered around 60 points several times. So that's not anything new for him. Elias Lindholm, how many times do I have to be reminded about how good he used to be in Calgary?
Well, Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk.
Oh, I know. But he put up better numbers with those guys. So, you know, clearly this isn't a career year for him. Casey Middlestat, he was not a fit in Colorado. And before that, he was on Buffalo. Who was going to Buffalo in the last 15 years and having career years in Buffalo? No one. No one. And again, he has gone back to being the 40, 45 point player that was his ceiling. So, like, I don't.
Well, he had 59 points in Buffalo.
Oh, sorry. So yeah, he's not even at his ceiling then.
Right, but he had 15 goals that year. He has 14 this year.
So yeah, they're not. They are. They're being themselves again. The ones that are having career years are just doing what we expect from them a year in and year out, and they're just doing it. Is that unreasonable? I know Kevin asked me earlier, did I say when or whatever about getting to the Cup final? And it's like, the more you watch this team, the more you sit there and go, why can't they get there? It's not to say they will, but they have every chance as anybody else.
That the LA Kings were going to get to the Cup final in 2010? Was it 2010?
Yeah, something like that. Whatever. Yeah. I know the year that you're talking about, and the point stands, whether it was 2010. Yeah, it had to have been 10 because we were the 11.
Right.
So it's just, there's no. I guess the question is why not Boston?
Right.
Because you think they're getting lucky? Because you think they're having career years when they're really just having years? Like,
if your goaltending is where it should be, and you're scoring and you're outscoring your opponents, it could be anyone's year.
Craig Eagle said it earlier. They need both goaltenders to stay healthy. Mm-hmm. They need everybody to stay healthy right now. But
I think we were talking about Charlie McAvoy and Hampus Lindholm at that point when Craig said that.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about that there were a handful of games that the two of them were out together.
Yeah. Ian jumping in, did I miss the Matthew Poitras conversation? No, but you did miss the James Hagens dispute.
We didn't mention Poitras with the exception of me mentioning it.
And then Kevin in the comments just being a wise ass a little while later. Steven is saying, who is replacing Arvidsson? Well, see, the issue of replacing Arvidsson, again, that becomes a question for next season. Like right now, saying I want to re-sign Arvidsson is solving a problem for next year when you haven't finished this year yet. If you finish this year with a Stanley Cup, how many players are you trading away from this roster? How many are you not bringing back? I mean, there's a lot that you are. Don't get me wrong. But you can trade away Middlestat. You could probably at that point relieve yourself of the Elias Lindholm contract. There will be a lot of value to Elias Lindholm at that point, and you could probably find a much easier way off of that contract. On the blue line, that's when you can seriously look at moving on from Hampus Lindholm if you really don't like what his contract looks like in the next 3 years. If you're Don Sweeney, like if you walk away with a cup this year, you can look at those kind of moves. If you walk away in the first round, you're sitting there going, what we have is close. So let's continue to build to it. What are the tweaks that we have to make? Mm-hmm. If you walk away any other time anywhere in the middle, to your point, you're saying, how did we get here? Who helped us get here? And who's going to help push us to that next level where we do get a cup? Mm-hmm. And it's just, you got to see how it plays out before you're ready to just throw dimes and dollars and contracts at players, because what if we get to the playoffs and he doesn't score a single goal for you? What's your problem with Poitras? Apparently,
I don't have a problem with Poitras. Who said I had a problem with Poitras?
The same people who say I hate Fabian Lysell.
I love Matthew Poitras. I just don't see him cracking this lineup right now.
And that's the other thing is, depending on how far you get in the playoffs this year, you could look at Victor Arvidsson's spot and go, you know what? We really want Poitras to be on the center. However, what if we gave him a look on the right wing? Like, it's just, you're fixing a problem for next year when you haven't finished what this year is. And that's too long distance. It's funny because there's the long distance view and the short distance view, and it's always trying to find the blend of the two. I know I asked before.
Soon.
I was just gonna say I know I asked before, but was there anything else other than trying to figure out what your problem is with Matthew Poitras that you wanted to go over?
No.
Okay. I know you don't have a problem with Poitras, just like I don't have an issue with Lysell. What did you want to go over on the Fleet?
So the Fleet, if you've been living under a rock, were the first PWHL team to clinch their spot for the playoffs.
They clinched it.
They clinched their spot. Aaron Frankel went 191 minutes, 9 periods of hockey without allowing a goal.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
I'm pulling up just because it's so unreal. Her save percentage is .954, and her goals against average is 1.17.
Mm-hmm. She has 7 shutouts. 7. 3 in a row. 7 shutouts.
And I want to do a quick filter here. Go on your next thing. I want to do a quick filter on the NHL stats to give a comparable here. Go ahead.
They just so they're on the road right now. Like they just beat Minnesota on the road. I forget who they're playing next. But their next home game is April 11th at the Boston Garden.
That one's going to be packed.
It's sold out.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's going to be packed. It's going to be a good one. There are, so to put it in perspective, there are 59 NHL goaltenders who have started 21 or more games. She has started 21.
Mm-hmm.
The closest in save percentage is Scott Wedgwood, who has 40 games played, and his save percentage is .917. Let's see. She's at, call it 1,300 minutes of ice time. Anyone around that in the NHL is sub 900, and she is sitting at a 954. Holy crap.
Yep.
And she was interviewed pregame the other day, which I think she was with Alina Mueller, but it was Megan Keller they did the interview with during the game. Did you catch that?
Right. Yeah.
Did you see how many people were complaining about the fact that they were doing an interview during play?
Yep. Oh, we lost Chris. Oh, there's Chris.
Sorry. There we go. You missed the part where I sit there and I go, what the hell? Like, why are we bitching about this?
Because, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I didn't get the play-by-play for the 10 minutes they were talking to her. You're watching the game!
Anytime I don't have to listen to that broadcast is a good day.
Anytime the broadcast
for
works,
national coverage. I'm begging for national coverage.
Okay, I will say this. At least when Nesson does the game, the camera stays on the play. I said
I didn't have to listen to the broadcast. I know. It. There is a difference.
But what I'm saying is as bad as Nesson can be, several times last week during the Providence game, there were goals that were missed because puck was dropped and the cameraman was still scanning the crowd. Right. And it was brutal. I know people are going to blame Flow Hockey for it, but don't, because that's not on them. That's on the camera operator who is employed by Providence. So hopefully Providence gets on that. Just because I reloaded and haven't swapped it back. Kevin says I'm in your seat. Octo says, so the best goalie convo is long done. When do we get the best athlete at their position convo? I mean, based on numbers, the conversation doesn't even have to be had. She is the best player at her position. She is the best athlete at her position, far and away. And this isn't a one-time thing for her, by the way. Like, her goals against average has never dipped below 900 in her life.
Mm-hmm.
Her goals against average for her PWHL career is under 2.
Mm-hmm.
Her save percentage is over 930 for her career.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know it's only been 3 seasons pro for her, 3 or 4 seasons pro for her, but
3. The PWHL is only.
I didn't know if she played before the PWHL was formed or not. I'd have to go and pull her up. She's on Elite Prospects, though. I have seen her page there. Oh, you're saying best athlete at their position of all sports. That's a whole different conversation. We don't have time for that one today, but
no.
You know, we can work on a few things for that. Anyway, you said their next game is April 11th. It'll be at the Garden.
Yeah. No, well, that's their next home game.
That's the next home game. Sorry.
Yes.
Will that one be on Nesson or will it be on
no, it's definitely on the league's YouTube channel, but it should be on Nesson or Nesson Plus because the Bruins play the matinee against Tampa.
Right.
So that only leaves the Red Sox.
Yeah.
So they have on Tuesday. They're playing Vancouver in Edmonton.
Oh, that's one of the takeover series, right?
Correct.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I think that one's sold out too, isn't it?
Pretty much all of the big arena games have been sold out.
Yeah. I think we're going to see some expansion in that league sooner rather than later again.
Yeah, it's rumored that as soon as they get to 12, though, it's going to be capped for a while.
That would make sense because they're going to need to, at some point, sell off teams to private owners.
Well, eventually, that's the goal, is to actually start their franchises versus having.
Yeah. I mean, right now there's 8 teams?
Yeah.
Yeah, 8 teams. So that would be basically 2 more rounds of expansion. So, I mean,
no, I'm thinking it's rumored that it's going to be all 4 at once.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That would be intriguing, to say the least. Yep. But whether it's 1 or 2 more rounds of expansion, that puts you to 12. And at 12, that's when you can start. I think there are 12 billionaires who would have some interest in a few teams in a few of these. So, and then at that point, these teams are probably going to start needing their own larger arenas and that sort of thing. There'll be some investing. You kind of let it percolate and build the value of the league overall, and then start letting other owners buy in. So, yeah. You got anything else for tonight?
No.
All right. Just for Kevin, I'm going to swap us back to end it. And, yeah, all I got left is go Bees. I know
my hearts. There they
are.